We are officially in the holiday season, so what are the best stocks for Black Friday, and should you add them to your watch list? What are the pros and the cons and everything in between? Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, yes, obviously I'm not wearing my normal polo or sweatshirt. I'm in the holiday mood. I didn't feel like taking off my turtleneck because I thought it was nice, okay? I need a haircut. I'm wearing a beanie. I'm getting my haircut tomorrow. So we gonna have to deal with it until I get my fresh cut, and then I will record with the fresh cut. Cause you know you gotta get the fresh cut before Thanksgiving, okay? Cause you got the pictures and all that kind of stuff. All right, so we're gonna do what we're gonna do, okay? But I've got 5 stocks that I think will be crucial, not just for Black Friday, but the holiday season and perhaps the foreseeable future. Now, you guys know what my viewpoint is. Foreseeable future, when it comes to the stock market, is just about 6 months, okay? Because, especially with the new administration, but the stock market is relatively unpredictable. You invest for roughly 6 months and you come back and reevaluate. When I mean reevaluate, I mean come back, see what we know about the stock market, see what we know about these companies, and decide, should we continue to hold, should we take our profits, or do we just sell and do something different, okay? Now, let's start off with the background, because that context is always important when it comes to how I create these lists, because I think you need to know what you're investing in and why, and then what I use to come up with these lists. Now, what I'm thinking about is, what are people spending their money on, what is doing well right now, and how these two things kind of come together. We know that the stock market is doing well. We know that the stock market is at or near record highs, depending on what time of day that you're watching this. Also, remember the stock market is going to be closed on Thanksgiving Day, so remember that. Looking at that, I'm looking again, where are people spending their money? They're spending a lot of their money in tech stocks, so we know that. And again, Black Friday themed is what I'm looking at. So what are people going to be doing during the holidays? Spending money on retail, that's one. Also, what is at the cream of the crop? So if we're looking at the S&P 500, what are the stocks that are at the absolute best? So you're not going to see a ton of, Arista networks or something like that. You're not going to see an Nvidia, because the average person like me and you, you're not going to the store and buying Nvidia stuff per se, right? So you're going to see some retail, and you're going to see where people are spending their money, right? So that is what I'm looking at, just so you know. All right. So let's start off with Royal Caribbean Cruises. Very interesting stock, because it's one that I think is under the radar. Royal Caribbean up 64% in the last 6 months, up 134% over the last year. Yeah, wild. Up 134% over the last year. It's wild because, again, everybody has been feeling like a recession. I know why people feel like it has been that way. When people feel like the economy has been bad, again, I know why people have felt that way, even though I know the numbers have said completely different. But again, when there is a true recession, you don't see cruise stocks do well. We saw during the pandemic, when there was a true recession, we could not travel, we saw how cruise stocks did do. So interestingly enough, there is a lot of money being spent on travel. Interesting. So I'm wondering whether there are going to be more deals or not. Again, I'm still looking at these as medium to long-term holds, not for hold forever and ever. Because again, hold them, evaluate, and then continue to hold if things continue to do well. But again, I do like Royal Caribbean at this moment in time, based on the information that we do have. So Royal Caribbean, number 1 on our list. Next here is Expedia. Expedia, though, I do have an asterisk. Okay, this is one that is good now. I think it could get a whole lot better, and here is why. So first off, up 68% in the last 6 months. However, is up just 36% over the last year. So you may be wondering, how is it up so much in just 6 months, but not over the last year? That is because it had been down, is really taken off rather. If you are someone who is a technical analysis, but you look at charts and the charts tell you what to do, there are pros and cons to that investment method. However, what it does tell us is that it has a lot of momentum. It is doing quite well very recently, and we have an indicator, a sign, a green flag in the last 2 to 3 months, meaning it is fresh. This, for some, is saying that, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, that there's more runway, that this one could be, you could be on the train very early rather than late. Some people feel like a company like Nvidia that has been doing well for so long, there's a feeling, okay, not necessarily may not be true. It's like, that company's been doing well for a very long time. I feel like I'm late on the bus and it could just run out of gas. People feel that way. They feel like, oh, there's a ceiling to this stock because it's been doing well for a very long time. Well, Expedia has not been doing that well for a very long time. It's only really done well for just a few months at this point. You might be early. Keyword is might. Now, Expedia has had periods of time where it has done incredibly well. We could be very early on this one. So this is one I have an asterisk on. I am looking at it, and I really hope that this one is on its way back, because there was a point in time where we had talked about this one maybe 3 years ago, where Booking.com and Expedia were doing incredibly well. And you guys know, if you were a subscriber for a while back in the day, Booking and Expedia were on fire. And we got into it, held it for almost 2 years, made maybe 70 or 80% or so at that point in time, hopped out of it. Well, I don't know what happened to it after that. And then this could be the time to hop back into it. So, could be very early, but right now it's doing pretty good. Okay. Next here is one that we have talked about before. I know. Sometimes it can be repetitive, but boring is good. I shouldn't apologize, so I guess I'm not, okay? Walmart, up 39% in the last 6 months, up 75% over last year. The only thing I will say about Walmart, other than the fact that it's obvious, Black Friday, people are going to be shopping for stuff, but also Christmas stuff, holiday stuff, Thanksgiving stuff. But don't forget that the stat that's out there, that when a company, on average, when a company does do a stock split, in the year after they do the stock split, they do also tend to outperform the S&P 500. Is it a guarantee? No. But on average, it does tend to happen. That could be something that is also helping Walmart continue to do well. Walmart doesn't often do numbers in the 30s, 60s, or even 70% average or return like it has been doing. Will Walmart do this forever? I don't think so. I'm not used to Walmart doing double-digit returns in the way that it has. So it's wild for me to see and say as often as I have said it. Next here is Netflix. Now, Netflix is a very interesting one. We've talked about Netflix a few times. I guess you can call this a Netflix sweater. But Netflix up 34% in the last 6 months and up 81% over last year. Now, they did have a snafu, a knockout, if you will, with the Tyson and Fury fight. There were some buffering issues. Now, I thought, and even put this on Threads the day of or the day before, whatever it was, I could have swore up and down that with those issues come Monday after the fight, the stock was going to fall because people were frustrated and that was going to have people to unsubscribe. Then the stock shot up because they said that Beyonce was going to do a Christmas Day game and that was going to help. Or apparently did help. Okay. Not something I would have expected, which, again, investing can be relatively unpredictable. Now, here is the thing. Netflix is very good for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, we know for a fact people are going to sit down, subscribe, if they are not already subscribed, to sit down and watch Beyonce. That we know. Okay, we absolutely know. Now, will this be a smooth, non-buffering experience? I don't know. So there is a risk there. If there is a bad experience and things don't go smoothly, will the stock drop? Yes or no? If it drops, will it drop significantly enough to where it will matter? If you buy today, between now and Christmas, will the stock gain enough to where it won't matter? Those are question marks. If you've been investing for the last 2 years, the last year, or the first time I mentioned the stock, will it even matter for someone like you? These are all things that you would need to answer. I do not know that. If you are investing, you're going to hold it for the next month, the next 6 months, or the next year, will what happened the day after Christmas even matter? Probably not, if the stock does as well as I think it will do, or if it has done what it has done over last year, which is gain more than 80%. A 5 or even 6% drop is probably not even going to matter if it even drops at all, because if it does well, nobody's going to even care, right? So there are a lot of positive things that can happen with Netflix and have done quite well for Netflix, because I do think if things go well, they're going to say, hey, look, y'all can host a Super Bowl one day in the future. So we'll see. But Netflix, I also said it could be I don't want to say recession proof, an election proof stock, because with tariffs and all these other threats and things out there, Netflix is right in the middle where, I don't really see tariffs tariffs really threatening them in the way that a traditional manufacturing company might be hit. I say they're immune, but they may not be as subject to them or as threatened by them as a normal company would. Got one more stock that is hitting all-time highs. Before we do, make sure that you check out my free guide on how to start investing in 20 minutes, buildingbread.com/20. We are going to roll out some new stuff in the next few weeks, including a brand new workshop on how you can get ready to invest in 2025. However, before we do that, you absolutely want to sign up for this free guide on how you can start to invest. I'm going to put out a poll, if you will, a survey, but it's only going to go to people on the email list. So you need to join the email list to get that, because I want to understand exactly what you're looking for in 2025, what you need from me. I want to be very intentional on doing this workshop. So really want to, get inside your head so I can give you exactly what you want from me and teach something that is brand new, that is fresh, and is extremely effective. So I want to put out that survey this week, and I'm going to send out a few reminders. So open up the email when you get it. Okay, I'm literally going to type this out tonight and get it out before Thanksgiving. You're probably going to get a few reminders because I want to get as many responses as I can to put out great content, put out a great workshop for y'all. So answer it. There'll be some blanks. Put in as much information as you want and need so I can put out a great workshop for you, because I want you to be ready to invest in 2025. So y'all going to hear from me. All right. Next one is a company you might not expect. That is T-Mobile. T-Mobile has been hitting all-time highs. They're up 47% in the last 6 months and 64% over last year. Why would T-Mobile be on a list like this? Yes, people talk and communicate during Thanksgiving. However, there is a point or a thing that people do sit down and do, and they try to switch costs. We do know that generally T-Mobile tends to be cheaper than AT&T and definitely cheaper than Verizon. People do tend to switch. There are Black Friday deals as well where people sit down and say, look, Verizon's too expensive. Let's try and move to T-Mobile. Let's try and, move from one to the other. And this is another opportunity to do that. Now, it might be a little bit more of a reach than some of the others, but it is a good stock to start to consider. And I do think T-Mobile is a little bit more durable. Maybe they could be one, again, wouldn't call it recession proof. I would just say they are, let's call it durable. Let's just call it durable. Okay, because I don't necessarily want to call it defensive either, because they don't really pay great dividends. But it's a company that it is in a space where you do absolutely need it. It is cheaper than some of the big boys, some of the bigger, again, AT&T, Verizon. It's, again, something you absolutely need, and it's there, right? It's big enough. Right, so similar to a Walmart, very, very similar to a Walmart, where you've got Target on the more expensive end. There is no Dollar Tree, Dollar General alternative, and those stocks are not good. So I'm trying to position it in a space where, hey, the stock is good. Consumer-wise, you've got two more expensive options if people are trying to trade down, and they can move to a T-Mobile and still have good service in terms of like what they need that particular company to do. So that's how I'm looking at a T-Mobile. So that is another one that can fit for Black Friday. Again, it could be a bit more of a reach, but also, again, people do buy new phones and things like that and trade up for Black Friday as well. So maybe not that big of a reach, but you let me know what you think. But here's the other thing. If you're looking for other stocks that are not necessarily Black Friday related, but are just good stocks in general for all weather types, if you will, you want to check out this video right here. And don't forget all the people that support this channel and make this content possible. Have a healthy and safe Black Friday and all those things. We are still putting out our normal content schedule as well. I expect to anyway. I've got all the stuff planned out, just need to record it. So y'all should still see things from me. So we'll see. All right. But in either case, happy Thanksgiving and everything else. So I will catch y'all later. And if you want to learn more about the stock market and everything in between, you check out this video next.